There you go.
We're on. See, there's your sign. All right, so happy, what's today? Is it Tuesday? Happy Tuesday to everybody. I think it's Tuesday. Yeah. Today, I'm happy to come back to South Florida with a conversation with one of my favorite South Florida breweries, Civil Society Brewing. Two of the three members of the ownership here, Carl and Evan. Well, actually, wait a second. Is he there?
There he is.
There he is.
There he is. The third member of the largest brewing crew in South Florida. Largest, I mean, you guys are 5 times my size, all of you. Doesn't say much because I'm kind of short for those of you who haven't met me yet. But yeah, but it's awesome to be here with you guys. How's it going?
It's going. It's good. Really good.
So there's 2 potential cities that you're in, right? Jupiter, and then I saw some other name that you refer to. People refer to you being in another area. It starts with an A, I think.
Abacoa.
Yeah, that. What is that?
It's kind of like I guess it's a development, and they kind of tried to make it its own little.
It's like a little town inside of a town, kind of.
But it's not a town.
It's like
a development.
It's like Coral Gables inside of Miami.
Oh, so somebody else is trying to charge you like a tax on top of the tax you're already paying.
I don't even know if it's even that far. No, it's it's like a development, and they wanted to make it like a cool like thing. So I don't. Yeah.
But it's Jupiter. It's Jupiter, and that's so Jupiter. For people who don't know, Jupiter is about. I think takes me about hour and 45 from South Miami to get there. Yep. So kind of give people some perspective. So like depending on traffic, yeah. So don't go to Miami expecting to be like right around the corner from Civil Society. So go to Jupiter for Civil Society. That's 2 different places.
West Palm Beach is the closest airport.
West Palm, there we go. Because that's for the out-of-staters. Because the NFL tells everybody that we're playing the game on South Beach. So it's just, just to clarify there. So
hop, skip, and a jump away.
There it is. So you guys, Civil Society opened up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but November of last year.
Yep.
So we're coming up on a year.
Yep.
How does that feel?
Weird.
Yeah.
Why weird?
I remember we were waiting to open, and we're like counting down the days or weeks, and we're like, we just can't wait to be open. And now it's like almost a year, and we're like, what God's name just happened?
Where'd the time go? It just flew by.
What happened? What did we do? How are we here?
Yeah.
It's like really.
It's a world. I mean, you guys are busy. I see you're at events, your festivals. So I guess I can see where the time blurs.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, you're a new dad, so time's gonna blur even more now.
Yes, it's I'm like a zombie when I come in the morning. So yeah, poor Evan's like pulling double shift half the time here. So yeah, been like that for a while. So
hey,
it's fun though.
I always tell people it's the best thing and the most stressful tiring.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't explain to somebody who's not going through it. Evan's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So.
I got 3 pit bulls. That's my kids.
Oh, nice. So you guys I've read that you guys have been friends for forever.
Mm-hmm.
So how long ago did you guys think that this would be the Civil Society would be a thing? Was it something you guys worked towards for years and years and years, or is it kind of like one of you or both of you like to homebrew and then it was like, well, shit, let's open a brewery. We're good at this.
I guess it kind of sounds like years. So I was trading beer. I kind of got into the beer scene, and when Florida was kind of there was nothing here, literally nothing here. This was before Cigar City opened, and they were kind of the first big brewery in Florida. And it was before even that. So I was trading beer, and we really had nothing to trade. And Cigar City opened, and it was like all of a sudden I could get a lot of beer from everywhere else. It was so expensive. So I tried to start brewing, and that was probably 8 years ago. Yeah, and then he is a marine engineer on a yacht. So after high school, I went to different colleges, and then we ended up we came back and went to the same college for a while. And
roommates
there, and then we went our separate ways. He started going out on yachts and working on yachts for a while. So he was all over the globe. And I've been brewing for probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And he came back and I was like, hey, you want to hang out and brew? And yeah, that's kind of where it started. And maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe?
A couple of years after homebrew, and we're kind of like, we don't like working for people. We want to do our own brewery.
Yeah, I don't think we really knew what it all entailed at that point. It was
took
just
our
kind of
time.
like, hey, this seems like a cool thing.
We studied festivals. We studied breweries, like winter breweries, and the engineering side's my side, the mechanical. So I look how they operate, and he deals the recipes and development of that. So we took our sweet time because we wanted to do it right, and
it seemed like a long time.
It was a very long time, but
I think it was probably 3 or 4 years in the making, and it got to the point where it felt like it wasn't going to happen, and then everything kind of fell into place, and boom, yeah, there you go. That's it.
We just gotta keep pushing and keep going.
Yeah, you'll get there.
It always looks like it's not going to happen. Then one day you're like, oh God, this is happening. Yeah. Once you're in it, man.
You're kind of in it.
Sounded so excited about that.
No, it's awesome.
No, I know.
It is so much work that you can't appreciate it until you're in it. Yeah. It really is a lot of work, but it's rewarding.
Well, it's so we all these things you kind of saying lead me to kind of one thought, and it's that you said you studied festivals, you studied the industry, so there's a lot more that goes into opening a craft brewery, in my opinion, than just being able to brew a good beer, right, or a great beer.
Sure. Yeah.
It should be that if you brew a great beer, it speaks for itself, but there's also a lot more that goes into this industry and getting your name out, making sure people understand that your beer is there and where and how. How much, I guess, when sitting down and writing a business plan or coming up with this idea, how much weight went one way or the other? I mean, it seems like both of you guys have different skill sets, right? I mean, one guy brought the brewing to the table, the other guy brought the invaluable ability to probably fix anything and everything in the brewery, set everything up the way you wanted it.
It's invaluable. It's insane. But yes.
Well, for me, it was fun building the glycol system, doing the demo, all that stuff was fun, and being here every day is what I did for a living. But
it was a lot of fun for me.
He hated it. He wanted to have a heart attack. And I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And but no, it's I also learned a lot from reading about other breweries, going to their breweries, seeing how they ran their systems to learn how to cut budgets, because we had a certain budget we had to fit within. So he would read a lot of stuff, tell me, can we do this mechanically? And I would research it. I'm like, okay, we can do that. So we saved literally a fortune studying breweries. Because other people did stuff and made mistakes, and they're willing to tell you their mistakes, how to save money.
Yeah, what this industry is unique in the fact that everybody's willing to tell you where their pitfalls were, right? No one's keeping secrets from each other, and we're happy when other breweries can get open, and we know the struggle that they went through to get there. So we're very happy for them and love to help them. So we're kind of on the other end of things now. We have a lot of people coming and talking to us about that. We're more than happy to help out where we can. When we were opening, the brewery is local to us, to Cuesta Brewing Company. And now they've branched off to Twisted Trunk, but the two guys there, Matt and Fran, and then Funky Buddha with Ryan, known him for a long time. I mean, they were, Matty Cox over at Copper Point. But I mean, they were instrumental. I mean, it was like, hey, how do you do this? Oh, okay, So, I mean, it's pretty unique and super helpful when you can just call somebody up on the phone who's gone through it, and you're going to be technically competing against them, and they're willing to kind of give you the playbook.
Sure.
It's just, that's what makes this industry so different. I mean, it's such a cool industry to be in because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly unique. I would hope that I would love that it would stay that way, but we today where we see, cease and desist letters flying back and forth, we see lawsuits being filed. We see all this stuff going on.
You also got to build friendships with these people before. You can't just call someone and go, "Hey, I don't know you. Help me out."
I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, we were frequent, patrons to these places.
Frequent drinkers.
Yes. Known these guys for, for a while because we would go there and we talked to them and we invested the time. It's not like we just cold called them and said, "Hey, how do you do this?" But if you are willing to invest that time and kind of spend time there, and I mean, I guess probably at some point we became annoying, maybe even, because it's all right, guys, hey, listen, you're never gonna get there, and blah blah blah. I mean, you kind of see that with guys coming in; they seem like they're never gonna get there, or they are gonna get there and they don't get there. I don't know, it's
perfect example. Ryan from Funky Buddha. Every time he sees us, he's like, "I never thought you guys were an open. I thought you were full of crap."
Yep.
And he's like, every time he sees us, he tells us, and we're like, you told us this already.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah, but again, like, I mean, he's even today, like, I mean, after we're open, he's, these guys are super helpful for us to, so it doesn't stop. I mean, they've been just great, like helping us get the ball rolling and even get into the first year. Cause there's things that come up in the middle of a brew or in the middle of like a week that you're just like, oh my gosh, how do I handle this? And you have somebody to reach out to that's probably been through it and reached out to somebody else who had been through it. So you've got like generations of help on top of generations of help. And yeah, it's a super cool community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, and I hope it. I hope it. I know what you mean. You build those relationships, and that's kind of. It's an industry that's open to those relationship building experiences, and you get a bunch of people together at a festival or at a brewery. Even it kind of lends itself to, that. But I guess my fear is, and you guys were very smart about this, I think, and the way you opened up. I think you guys took a really great approach, saying, we're going to be these guys that are hop forward and kind of grow. It seems like we're going to grow organically. I know you guys increased production pretty quickly.
Yep.
Which is great, but I think that's because the approach you took. I mean, am I right in saying that you guys took the approach that we're going to be the hop guys, the hop forward guys down here? It seems like there was a little bit of a.
I'm not sure that was thought that way. Like, oh, nobody's doing this. I think it's kind of like, I think that was an afterthought. Like, this is just what we liked, and so we wanted to brew it. And looking back, like hindsight, I'd like to be like, oh yeah, we saw this opening in the market and pounced on it. But that wasn't it. We just brewed what we liked, and then it just kind of happened to be that there was an opening down here for something like that. It wasn't a whole lot of people doing that. So
yeah. I mean, it seemed like we were being dominated by a lot of kind of more malt forward stuff, more kind of. What Ryan's doing down at Funky, something that tastes like a Rice Krispies treat.
Yeah.
And someone like me, I was like, I just want people to brew really great hop forward beer.
Well, I mean, I guess that was the whole thing, even going back to a couple of years ago, like when Cigar City was doing High Life, everybody was like, oh, High Life is amazing. But when you compared it to West Coast IPAs, people were like, oh, it's still not that West Coast IPA,
Right.
I don't even know where it started. Maybe Hill Farmstead started doing these kind of turbid, super late edition, like hoppy IPAs or hop forward, ales, and kind of caught on. And I don't know, we tried a bunch of those and tried to figure out how to do it, and that's what we wanted to brew. And when we figured it out, we started making our own little niche and doing it a little differently, tweaking it here and there, and that's kind of where we're at.
Cool. I guess because kind of where I was headed too is we're skipping ahead a little bit, but so when I went up to the brewery, I was fortunate enough to be able to try lots of different offerings you guys had, and so some of them were real turbid, some of them weren't. So when you're approaching a new beer, a new recipe, is there thought into kind of, I want that appearance for this? Is it appearance for appearance, or is there something that you think that you're getting out of some of the more turbid or hazy or whatever the term is these days, IPAs, double IPAs versus some of them that maybe aren't? Because
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I mean, I think that the people who come in and purchase them, I mean, I think that when we have turbid beers or hazy beers versus like a clear beer, like for example, we first came out with pulp, like everybody was crazy about it, and it was kind of hazy. And then the second batch, it just lingered a little longer. It took a little longer to ferment out, so it kind of cleaned itself up, and it was not as hazy. And people were kind of like, "Oh, what happened to the haze?" So yeah, I mean, we like the look of it because we feel like it's kind of a juicy look. I mean, I guess when you're brewing to style, it doesn't kind of fit into a mold, but
sure,
we want it to look like this, and it's a process because what you're doing on the homebrew scale is not necessarily translating 1-to-1 on a professional system. So you've kind of got to go through the motions, similar to what you do homebrewing. You've got it's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error to kind of figure out where you're going to get to the point that okay, we're where we want to be, and this is how you do it. Days that you're dry hopping, when you're dry hopping, what you're doing in the kettle, and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like that you said that too, because some of the people you talk to go, well, I would never recommend anybody open a brewery without working in a brewery for 2, 3, 4 years. And you guys seem to really kind of do your homework before doing anything. And so, and there's a lot of people that are thinking about open breweries, but for people who don't work in breweries, is there kind of like a checklist of a couple things that you would say make sure you are aware of, or that you can try and do before getting yourself into this? Maybe some of the lessons you've learned of kind of some of the heartaches maybe that you've gone through the last 10 months.
You're not a brewer, you're a cleaner.
Yeah,
you clean, like it's insane.
The fun stuff
is making sure it's clean enough to put proper beer into it is a big factor. Set up your brewery properly.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that you can't cut corners on. I mean, you just want to make sure that you are sanitation is one of them, and that you've got your process in place, and that you're not kind of skimping on things that you really need to be investing in.
Can't cut corners on beer.
Yeah, I mean, not really. We've been pretty fortunate when we started brewing. We didn't have any issues where, I mean, we scaled up kind of from 5-10 gallons to 7 barrels 1-to-1 and kind of worked back. I mean, that was kind of a nervous thing when we first started doing that, because there's a lot of schools of thought about, you get more utilization from hops, or you get less, or you get more utilization, your efficiency is going to be higher, or yada, yada, yada. So I mean, we were just like, kind of, listen, we're going to scale up and kind of work from that. And that was helpful.
We started with pre-crushed grains, and then we.
Oh, that's a good thing.
That was
if you can get a mill, because it's difficult to have to worry about somebody else controlling your crush, because your efficiency is kind of all over the place.
Efficiency go from like 80-something to 50 each batch, and that was really screwing us up.
Yeah.
So we actually bought Funky Buddha's old mill.
Yeah.
And we finally dialed that into where we're pretty happy, but that took a while too, because it's an old farm mill.
It's like
there's no exact, hey, this is, you can adjust it properly. It's random screws and figure it out.
I mean, the biggest thing, honestly, is what we talked about earlier, is that there are people, you're not reinventing something. You know what I mean? It's not like we're doing something brand new. Someone else has done this. Now, maybe not beer styles, maybe not like the processing, but somebody else has opened a brewery before, and they have insight. And to ignore that insight would be foolish.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing. And we really took to heart the things that the people we talked about earlier, Matt and Fran and Matty Cox down at Copper Point, Ryan at Funky, like the things that they had to say about their issues when they opened, and we were able to really mitigate a lot of the problems that like a lot of new breweries have, because we were open-minded to what they had to say and didn't think that we knew better.
Sure.
It's weird to kind of go and be like, hey, you make the best stouts ever, and we want to make the best stouts ever. How do you do it? And someone tells you how to do it, and you're like, oh no, I think you should do it this way because it was. That's retarded. You know, it's.
People do that. They say,
Yeah.
how do you do this? And you tell them, and they're like, no, I'm going to do this way. You're like,
yeah, I know.
why did you ask me? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I've seen some of that happen. It's funny. And there's always that kind of look like, why did you make me waste my breath?
Yeah.
But, okay, I'm going to step back a little bit because I wanted to get into the name and what the name means to you guys and kind of get in a little bit into the personality of the brewery. You know, what kind of, you know, personality you guys are trying to build for the brewery. I guess first thing is civil society. You can make assumptions about what it means, but what kind of thought process going through your head when you came up with the name?
So, I mean, we had so many names that we talked about, right? I mean,
started off as like Double Barrel Brewing Company.
Oh, it was so bad initially.
We love
so bad
barrel beer, and I like shooting guns.
Yeah,
we went through a few more.
It was like shotgun. I mean, it was terrible. Like it was awful.
Yeah, we're like, let's do shotgun tap handles, and
Yeah,
they were just like, no.
Yeah. So I had my brother and I goofed off with like T-shirts, like just a long time ago, and we called it Civility and Treason, and civil kind of always stuck with me. And we were talking about it, and for some odd reason, I said civil society, and we started looking into what that meant, and it was kind of like just a group of like-minded individuals, whether you're like-minded politically or like socially or whatever it would be. Like it's a group of like-minded people, and we're kind of like-minded about beer. That was the whole point. And above and beyond that, we wanted a place where people could come and there was no pretense, no kind of like this person's this person's that. Just a cool place to hang out.
Average Joes and like 3-piece suits to come in.
Yeah,
And say,
I mean, we just didn't want like weird, like kind of like pretenses, like we said, and yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny because I just spent the time in San Diego with Council and with Society, and both of them are kind of the same thing. It's like beer is this product that really unifies people, and so they were telling me they've got, you know, this CEO of a Fortune 100 company that comes in and drinks beers every single day with, you know, a guy that cleans up restaurants, for example, and it's a product that breaks down boundaries. You know, and so do you guys still see it that way? Do you guys still kind of?
We'll be talking to a pizza delivery kid 1 second. You turn around, it's the head of a biggest car company down here.
Yeah, no, I mean
it's awesome. You know, they're all happy just having a beer and talking about beer, and you know, there's no difference to us. We're just like to have a drink with you, and
yeah.
I love that about it too. And sometimes like I start thinking a little too much. You know, and I always think, well, you know what? I try to compare craft beer to wine more because it's something. Wine's been around for so long, and it's got this kind of, you know, whether it's an image or it's got people assume immediately that this is a high-end product.
Right.
And so it kind of, do you think that calling it, and this is kind of like an artsy-fartsy theory question, but do you think that calling it an every man's drink does anything against that? Because when people go and charge, you know, $25 a bottle, then do people, and for something that took a year to produce or 6 months to produce, Satin Barrel, for example.
I mean, there's a difference between charging $25 a bottle and $800 a bottle. I mean, you know, wine's expensive. You know, it's like, sure. I mean, the most expensive beer you run into might be $25, $35, $40, you know, and that would be directly from the source. And if you go back and look at the process, there's reasons that it's being, you know, that you're paying that. It's, you know, they're not trying to mark it up exorbitantly. When people know that, I think they're more apt to be willing to pay it. And you can have the best beer, like on the planet, like rating wise, like somebody, you go to Beer Advocate, rate beer, Untapped, whatever. You could have like these top beers, and it doesn't matter who you are. You can't have like what people would consider the best wine, or even like the best whiskey. Like not everybody can have that stuff. They just can't because they can't afford it. But you can with beer. So
right,
that's kind of where that maybe that would come in.
Beer's
that's. Oh, I'm sorry, Evan. What were you saying?
Beer's not, you know, cheap to make also, and you know, people will say bottle prices, and you know, comprehend all the prices that go into it, like the barrel racks, the barrels.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all that.
This footprint it takes up in your brewery, because we're not a large facility, so the space that barrels take up is very important for us.
Right.
We're like, why don't you make more barrel aged beer? We're like, well,
where are we gonna put it?
Where am I gonna put it? I don't.
No, yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, these are all things that I think of. I've written articles about them. The thing is, my thing is, people will go and spend $70 on a bottle of wine, not even think twice.
Right.
And that's for mid-range Napa wine, right? $70, it's whatever. And then somebody goes and says, well, this beer took me just as long to make. I sourced the ingredients the same way they sourced their ingredients. They're everything. But it's beer, and it's an everyman's drink. So how can you charge me $50? And so it's kind of like thinking beyond. I understand what you guys are saying. I get it. I agree with you 110%. So have you given any thought to how we break that kind of boundary down? I mean, there are some people that are going to do it, but the general public. And because you bring up a good point. I mean, for a long time, Pliny the Elder was seen as the world's best beer, right? And you can buy a bottle of it for $5 or $6.
Right.
So you can't do that with wine. And so it is an everyman. But even some people at that time were saying $6 for a beer.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I think that
it sounds weird, but I'd say like, come and make it yourself and look at the money you've invested in. We're not a huge company. We don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions behind us. Like, we have to make money to buy the things, make barrel aged beer, and sit on that investment for 6 months to a year. And when you're trying to grow, it's, it ties up a lot of capital, and
right.
It handcuffs you a bit, but you're also trying to make a great product. So it's, it's a hard game to play with.
I mean, I guess that, breweries are open. Who was it? Somebody was in here from Maui. What was his name? Garrett, maybe?
Yeah,
Garrett. He's like on the National Brewer Association. Was that it? He was saying last year, so this would have been the beginning of 2016. So he was talking about 2015. A brewery is opening every 36 hours. I mean, ridiculous, right? And he said at that time in 2016, it probably was March, maybe April. He said every 12 hours a brewery was opening. So, I mean, the more access to breweries, that mindset may change. I mean, before, I don't know. I mean, there was maybe, I don't know how many breweries there were in 2012, but it's probably doubled at this point in the United States. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, it's just a brewery's opening up like every 12 hours. I mean, that's ridiculous. So access to good beer, I mean, breweries that are local and are small and invest time in making their product or their craft are a whole lot different than going to the supermarket and buying macro stuff that tastes the same. So even if someone's never had it and they try it, it starts a conversation. I do or I don't like it, okay? But the conversation is started, and then they're going to talk to somebody else about it. Oh, did you try this brewery? Well, I didn't like it. Oh, I did like it. It's that conversation gets rolling, and that may be the same kind of thing that happened with wine whenever it happened. But wine is so readily available and such a big part of certain aspects of our culture when it comes to eating and conversing and socializing. And now beer is kind of becoming that. It's kind of becoming that cheaper but still on the same level of quality product. So sure. It's not as expensive, but it is still quality.
Yeah, I agree. That stat about every 12 hours, that make you guys nervous? It kind of leads me into one of the points I wanted to ask you guys about is, and I was telling you a little bit about beforehand, but I kind of have this theory that you've got to differentiate yourself, and I think that either the breweries that are built to be massive, Stone, Sierra Nevada, that size, or size similar to what you guys are right now, specializing in something local, real strong, community roots. are going to be the future of the industry. And I guess with a brewery opening every 12 hours, does that make you guys nervous with
I'll say
competition?
Saying my friend said recently, he was a little buzzed, and he's the guy who's always pretty sober. And he texted me randomly, he's just like, drink good beer, not, it doesn't have to be local. And it's just like, I think it'll come down to people just making good beer.
Sure.
Yes, drinking local in certain areas is awesome, it's cool, but if someone's, I don't know, just comes down to making good beer.
I mean, the product's obviously going to speak for itself at some point, but I mean, I don't think it's bad to have I don't know how. I mean, there's so many different communities. I mean, we can only service so many people drinking our product. I mean, we're limited with the space. And we have. I mean, there's 3 breweries within 15 minutes of each other around us. I mean, we have Tequesta and we have Twisted, and I don't feel like there's any.
Between there is a big gap between the next one, but
I don't know. I'm not sure that I don't know if it's going to be super local as compared to like Sierra Nevada or Stone, or if I think that you see a lot of these bigger breweries starting to consolidate a little bit because they don't want to be part of Macro, because Macro's buying up a lot of stuff, so they're consolidating on their own. They're making big companies. I mean, Cigar City and Oscar Blues, and who's the other brewer they're with? Parian?
Sierra City.
Yeah, there's a 3rd brewery involved with them. But I mean, that's huge, and the amount of beer that they can produce compared to like Cigar City. You told me they did 44,000 barrels last year, something like that.
They did 40 something. They're shooting for like 100 something next year.
I mean, we did.
I was like, we're like at
if we do 1,000 barrels this year, we're you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I mean, it's relative.
It comes
it's
down.
super relative.
Do you guys have plans to get? I mean, do you have any insight to share on plans as far as kind of what you want to see the brewery turn into?
I guess growth is part of the game, right? I mean, you want to grow, but we want to grow in like an appropriate time. I mean, we don't want to skyrocket and become too big to not be able to manage it the way we want to manage it. I mean, I think you kind of outgrow yourself if you're not careful. We, like I said, we talked about earlier, we opened with 315 to 7 and a 15 bright, and 2 weeks in we were kind of like, oh crap, we're not going to be able to make enough beer.
That's got to be a good feeling.
It is, but it's scary at that moment, right? You're like, oh crap, I mean, what happens a week from now or 2 weeks from now? And you're 3 months out from getting your new equipment. And it was a little dicey towards the end, but I mean, we doubled our production in 2 weeks, and we had ordered it. So it was maybe 3 months in. We opened in November, and we doubled in January. And then, we're kind of at that point where we have enough room to double again where we're at. But I don't even know, like, distribution wise right now, we're in 3 counties, and we literally just started last month, and we're just kind of trying to grow that organically. We're not trying to like just blast it out because we want to make sure that that where it's going is going to be appreciated. And then beyond that, we want to make sure that the product we're sending out is the best that we can do. So yeah, we're kind of trying to grow.
Our growth at first was just a tap room. We had to double capacity just to service the local customers because we were getting hammered, which is awesome. But that's the problem.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I mean, the distribution piece, like a lot of breweries kind of start when they have distribution in mind. Like we didn't even think about that. Like we didn't want to get involved in that at all until we absolutely had to. So yeah,
great. These are all awesome problems to have. What were the initial beers that you guys put out that kind of drove? Because from an outsider looking in, it was kind of like civil society starts. There's this cool logo with a French bulldog, and all of a sudden, everyone's like, "We got to have civil society beer." And so, I don't know if you guys saw it that way, but from the outside looking in, it was kind of an instant thing.
It It all had to do with my French bulldog. She's the one that brought everybody in.
What were the initial beers you put out that kind of started the hype?
Yeah, the initial beers we did were Blondes Make Me Hoppy, Fresh, Jupiter Rising, and Southern Exposure. Those were and J-Town Brown. J-Town Brown was the base for Jupiter Rising. It's basically the same, with coffee on it. And those were the core beers that we were trying to line up around. And we kind of Juice we put out initially.
Right after.
Yeah, we did
Emerald Showers.
Yeah, we did Emerald Showers, and then I think in late December or early January, right before Jupiter Beer Fest, we did. We were like, let's brew a hoppy wheat, and literally had never brewed it before on ever. We were just like, let's goof off with stuff, and it was Pulp came out, and that was kind of once Pulp hit, it was like this. We didn't know what happened, honestly. People coming in, getting 10 or 20 crowlers at a time, and we never limited stuff before, and so we didn't know that it was going to take up the time from the bar. Two people working, and they're working on 20 crowlers. I mean, you can fill maybe 2 crowlers a minute, so. Yeah. 10 minutes or 15 minutes is gone because everybody's focusing on that. And
we put it on draft, and we're like, this is good.
We really liked it.
And we put it on draft that day. A couple hours later, we're just boom, hammered, and just went.
I think we were kind of wow, this is really good, but we didn't anticipate the response because we just didn't know it was there. And I think it worked out. It worked out well because Jupiter Beer Fest we put it on, and maybe a week later Jupiter Beer Fest happened. So the whole state kind of congregated around our brewery, literally, I don't know, 100 feet from our brewery. So everybody was over here before and after. And after that, it was just boom. And at that point, there was literally no keeping up.
And at that point, there was limits on crowlers.
For sure. Yeah.
You see, people, that's why there's limits on crowlers.
Yeah.
Unless you can hire
people walking out with coming in with boxes.
Well, the one guy came in and ordered 49 crowlers at once. So we're brewing, and there's 2 bartenders, and they come back we need you. We're like, we're brewing. And they told us why. We're like, oh, God. Yeah. We're filling crowlers and running back to fill crowlers. That was one of the guys. The other guy had 20-something next to him. So it was,
there was one day where
they were right next to each other, these 2 guys, and we're just like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that means 48 crowlers and one guy got traded, and
maybe, yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing, though, right?
Or he's a big drinker.
That what?
Or he's a big drinker.
Well.
You never know.
49 crowlers. That's a lot of beer.
Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, but as far as the trading thing is concerned, I mean, it's got to be helpful for a brewery like you guys. Again, distributing to 3 counties, being, somewhat strapped in size, space, things like that. Trading helps you get your name out without necessarily having to pay for a marketing firm to do it for you, right? I mean,
Evan's refilling.
See, I wish I could just go.
That's good. Right here. No, it's good. It's good. I mean, there's some I don't know, frustrations that come along with it. I mean, you want to make sure that the experience that somebody has had in the past or the experience that they're telling somebody else is something that you can live up to. I mean, you don't want to let people down. I mean, and that's hard. I mean, it is, just because we're not immune to what people say sometimes, and it is what it is. You kind of go through the roller coaster of oh my God, this guy's such a or man, this guy's loves us or whatever. But you kind of go through it.
But what I've noticed is brewery owners and brewers are gluttons for punishment. You guys sit there. Some of you, not all of you, but a lot of you guys sit there on Untapped and read all these things and take them to heart. And it's a couple of my friends, I'll get text messages from them all the time saying, "Can you believe this person wrote about this beer? You had it last week. Do you think this?"
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm kind of guilty of that at times. I mean, initially when you're starting out, I think that's the good thing about it is you have this instant feedback. You don't have to wait for somebody like, okay, I thought this batch didn't come out as good as the last batch. What are other people feeling about that? I don't have to go around and ask people. I can just go online and see what people are saying about it. At the same time, you try not to take some of the stuff to heart because some people are brutal. But you live and learn. I mean, it's a good thing to kind of be able to go and read about it and learn. But most of the time, we kind of leave it off. We don't go to it.
Any beers you've been most proud of putting out so far?
I think Fresh is the beer that like I've worked on the most and kind of tried to get. That's the beer that's like homebrew, and I was like, man, I always kept that on, and so that's kind of the beer that is like my heart and soul. And I think we're kind of starting to really get it to where I want it to be. Again, like stepping it up and kind of doing the whole process from 5-10 gallons to 220 gallons at a time is not the easy thing, but I think we're kind of getting there. I mean, pulp just because of the reaction and kind of seeing where we can take pulp and if we can make it better and better and better.
I love Fresh. I think I brought home 4 or 6 cans or something. I crush those things. It's such a really great, like, refreshing and massively flavorful beer. It's just.
It's right here.
Fresh. It is.
Fresh.
Best compliment we get is like our buddies or like trade guys come in. We do can releases. They buy like a whole case of cans, and we see them the next morning. Their heads down, and I'm like, "What's wrong, man?" They're like, "I drank it all yesterday."
I gotta come back.
I gotta come back because they were all trade beers. I'm like, "What'd you do?" Like, when I sat by,
how are you standing?
Like, we invited some friends over, and it happened, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, there, buy it.
Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah, God forbid you buy more.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's an awesome beer. I mean, I'm a little bit more like I'm a little bit more restrictive on myself when I'm drinking these guys because I like to savor them and like be able to go in the fridge next week and still have one. But holy moly, that beer was so easy to go back and back and back. It's just awesome. And then the double IPAs I had, I think it was Corporate Lat. That's a pale ale, and then
Colorado's a pale ale. So we do
Emerald Showers.
Emerald Showers.
Okay. What I love about it is that it was so hop forward. It was dry. It wasn't, a lot of times double IPAs tend to get a little malty, a little malt's too sweet.
Oh, Emerald Shower is not a double IPA. That's double IPA is juice. Is our double IPA maybe?
Okay. Yeah.
Emerald Showers is a pale ale.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had juice there.
I'm trying to think of what might have been on tap at that point.
Seeing Green would have been.
Oh, Seeing Green probably was on tap. That's like our kind of West Coast double IPA.
Okay, Seeing Green is the one. That's the one and I posted a picture of it. I think the Seeing Green. That's the one I meant to say. Just an awesome, fun beer.
This one right here.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
What also is interesting is like people think like coming up with can labels and stuff so easy. It's like
names are the worst.
Names of beer is the hardest thing ever. Then labeling them.
Worst.
An artist, you're trying to say stuff, and they do things. You're like, no.
So he's way more artsy than me. Like I'm stick figure. I'm terrible. So like I try and explain what I want, and I don't say it the right way for like an artist to even be able to understand what I'm saying. So it comes back and it looks the polar opposite of what I want.
Yeah. You like beer.
Explain this to this guy.
I did art for a little bit, so it easily translates for me. Just been a while since I actually did it semi-professionally, but it's fun to do the labels. But when you're trying to like brew with 2 people, run a business, and create stuff, it's very hard.
Yes.
But have you guys tried to create? I mean, it seemed is there like a sort of a theme you guys go for? And I think it might have been kind of where I was headed earlier, because there seems to be a somewhat somewhat unified kind of artistic approach.
So we have a design team that we work with that we just happened to stumble across. I think my wife put me into the contact, and super cool guys. AR Design is the name. And then we also have a local artist that we work with, Eduardo Mendieta. His tag name is Emo. He's a local muralist. I think he's done stuff down in Wynwood, but he does a lot of stuff up here. And he did our logo. And that was a big challenge because I was trying to explain to him what to do.
Well, we started our logo with a wolf as the head.
Oh, yeah.
And out of sheer, I don't know, playing around, Carl and his wife Pearl were like, let's put our dog's head on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, let's see how stupid.
And it just came out
put it on,
really
like,
good.
Damn it, that's kind of cool.
It is cool. I like it.
I have 3 pit bulls, so I'm like, no, I want my dogs on it. And
well, that's where we have Gary. We have a beer named Gary. That's Evan's
one of my
pit.
dogs.
So
no offense, but as a guy who has an American bulldog and used to have an English bulldog, I think the bulldog kind of portrays the civil society.
Yes.
Yeah, I may be biased.
He's like a lap cuddle dog, but he looks
Gary's awesome.
He looks like a beast. Like you're like, oh my god, he's gonna kill me. But he wants to like cuddle and lick you to death.
Yeah, we love dogs here, so
yeah. I had a pit bull like that too. His name was Frodo. And Frodo just wanted to cuddle up on you, and I was so scared of Frodo every time I saw him.
That's Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
He loves that Lord of the Ring things.
I mean, they're good movies. I mean, I don't know. I don't read the books or anything. But...
Oh, you read all of them?
No, I didn't. I never read the books. That's too much, man. Harry Potter's dope, man. Come on.
Yeah, I've read Harry Potter. Come on, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, seriously.
Jeez, man. Just because you got to go on yachts and travel the world doesn't mean common folk like us couldn't spend some time reading.
Good point. I mean, you'd think he would have spent time reading as he's traveling across the Atlantic, but
yeah, your average like sleep time's like 4 hours a night. Yeah, a lot of time to read while you're doing that. So I love sleep now.
Yeah, I assume you enjoy what you're doing more now than what you were spending time sequestering a boat.
There were some cool times, and everyone thinks yachting like, oh, it was so cool. I'm like, well, there was some. I worked for some pretty big mega yachts and some of the wealthiest people on the planet, and some of them, the richer they got, the cooler they were. They just wanted to act normal. Mm-hmm. Some of them who like weren't that rich, they were just like the worst people ever. And
it's how it usually works, man. I've noticed that. Like the real.
I gotta go back in the engine room, man. I got stuff to do. I don't know. And but no, if you're traveling, you're moving a lot. You don't have time to have friends. Like Carl's my best friend forever, and there was years where we didn't talk or.
He's just gone,
I didn't have Christmas.
When you come back in town, we'd pick up where we left off. But
yeah, my family's like, who are you? God, Christmas, Thanksgiving, your birthday. I might call once every couple months. They're like, where in the world are you? I'm like, I don't really know. Hold on, let me check my computer. Okay, I'm here? Okay.
Oh, shit. That's gotta be trippy, man.
You just do your job, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds fun, but some parts are like when you
and
you like have times like you do like mini refits, like fix the engine room up, do some stuff inside, and then you have weekends off. So then that's where the yachting crew is known for kind of going hard. So there was a lot of rough weekends involved in yachting, but and you're back at sea, and when you're at sea, you can't leave the boat. You go in your stateroom, you go back to work. That's it.
Oh God!
Not as fun as you think.
Fun stuff.
You gotta fix everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
Hey, well, look, if it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't have you here. So, you know.
I was gonna say, it's the same thing now. He's got to fix everything all the time.
But even here, it's like,
Is this your bed now when you're at work?
yeah, right here, my buddy the lizard.
You sure with an iguana?
I swear, our brewery, like, everything we have, like, something has went wrong. We asked the company, and they're like, we've never had that happen before. I'm like, of course you haven't.
And it always
Happened to us.
It always happens when Evan's like out of town. Like if here doing my thing by myself. Like I'm like the other day we had an issue with
I wonder why it breaks.
we had an issue with the chiller, and I came in to pull some yeast off and dry hop a beer, and I noticed that the temperature on the tanks was a little higher, and I was like kind of like looking around at all the tanks, and I was like, oh crap. So I go out to the chiller, and the chiller's off, and I flip it on, and it cycles for maybe 15 seconds and shuts off, and then glycol's like pouring out this where you dump it in at, like it was backed up or something. So obviously I immediately called him. I'm like, hey, you got to come up here. I don't know what's going on.
He calls me. I just came back from like a 3-day festival, showered, sat down my bed, and I get a phone call. I'm like,
Yep.
Something broke.
seriously?
So he came and he had it running in probably, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know if it just over. I don't know what. I have no idea what happened. That's what he's for. So
I was going to say, Evan, based on your expert opinion,
We know
is it something that just happened?
yeah, it wasn't me. So that's the best thing. It wasn't me.
All right, I got
It wasn't your fault.
It might have been my little brother's fault.
Stand down the road.
Same family, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, there you go. If
So we-
you're not around, man, you can't go on any more trips.
That's it. That's it.
That's the problem. I can't leave.
Honestly, that's the problem with. Like, I feel like I can't leave. Like, there's so many things that have to happen to make this thing work, because the two of us have pretty good chemistry together. Like, I know what he's taking care of, and he knows what I'm taking care of. But when one of us is gone, it's like, holy cow, who's going to fill this void? I don't want to do it,
Well,
and I don't know how to do it.
When you're a tiny brewery, like we're a 7-barrel system, we do a lot of production, but between running the business side of stuff, the taxes, the recipes like he does, emails, and like social media, people just, people think
Social
they can
media is
email
the
you
worst.
and want a response instantly. It's like,
The worst.
I don't, I get here early in the morning. I barely ever see my wife. And it's like, you try and respond and do stuff, but it's like, we're so busy.
You get a lot of comments like, oh, it took you 2 days to respond. And it's like, it's the weekend. Come on.
Like, there's two of us running the brewery, and
I respond to all, I do all the social media stuff, right? I respond to everything. So God forbid, it's one day that you go without doing it, and it's like, holy cow.
I'm going to start commenting on every single one of your pictures and leaving I'm going to create a fake account.
There you go. Yeah.
And just be angry about everything. And that
Seems like there's people that are like that, but I don't, for every one of those persons or people, there are
99 good.
Yeah, there's amazing people on the other end. So
yeah.
Also, you come back to how you were saying people who want to open a brewery. It is your life. You don't have a weekends off. You don't have a whatever. Like, if you're like us and you want to brew the beer, you want to manage the business, you want to grow the business, it's your life. And your wives have to know. His wife comprehends. My wife comprehends. We see them very little. He has had a kid. I mean,
oh god,
my
wife's pregnancy was she went through a lot, but and that's where he came so I was in and out, and now it's even more with the kids. So today we had my little boy just chilling here in his car seat while we were brewing because my wife had to so no, it's good stuff.
That's awesome. So where do you guys see, where do you guys see all this headed towards into the anniversary? I guess it's going to be an anniversary party.
Yes.
Yeah.
November 19th.
When is it?
November 19th.
Okay, so people can look forward to that. Very exciting. And then going forward from the anniversary party, well, anything you want to say about the anniversary party other than the date?
It's gonna be kind of, I don't know. It's gonna be a
big block party.
We're shutting down the road. Gonna have bands. We're bringing some out of state. Bringing some out of state breweries. A lot of the big local breweries that you know in Florida. See the out of state stuff. We've got Other Half coming. Finback, Aslan, Ocelot, The Answer, Triple Cross. Who else? Southern Grist.
We have a bunch we can't name because it's not officially. Officially coming.
Maybe more to come. So we'll see.
We don't want to say it, and then they don't show up, and people get pissed.
But, sounds like an awesome time. Are there going to be ticket sales for that?
Probably going to do just like a banded event, like all you can drink.
But walk through the streets.
Yeah, there's going to be businesses open, restaurants open, so you can grab food. We'll have a couple food trucks just because we don't know what the crowd's going to be like, and we don't want that wait to be hours for the restaurants. There are, I don't know, 3 or 4 restaurants on the road, so
there's a couple more restaurants behind us. We're
going to have some bands and try to decide whether or not we're going to be open later in the day or not, like for the brewery or for the day. We'll see.
What about? It's all exciting, so I'm sure you guys will post stuff about that as it comes up. But so that's awesome. Look forward to that. And then I guess as we come in on the hour here, but what can we expect in the next 6 months to 12 months? Anything cool? Any new beers you guys are working on? You're excited about? Any new? I don't know.
I mean, anniversary party. Honestly, the beers that we're brewing for that are going to be a lot of fun. We're doing a double dry hop version of Fresh. I'm literally reading right here. We're doing a beer.
It's taking a while to read.
Yeah, we're doing a beer called Extra Pulp, which is going to be like a double version of Pulp. We're doing a variation of Fresh called Fresh to Death. So we're doing some fun stuff. Anniversary IPA, double IPA. So that'll be fun. And then let's see, we've got a lot of beer fests coming up. A lot of, I don't know, we've got a bunch of things that we're involved in going forward. We got Jupiter Beer Fest in January. Which is always a good time here.
A couple of local things we gotta do, which is like you work all week and then Saturdays these festivals. So which one? Yeah,
26. Yeah, we got our calendar right behind us. 26 degrees this weekend. We have
Coastal the weekend of.
We got an event at Box Elder coming
first
up.
Weekend of October.
We've got we're doing some collabs. Let's see, we're doing a collab with The Answer. We're doing a collab with Aslan. We're doing a collab with Finback. We got a collab with Wakefield coming up. We got a collab with Slim Pickens. We got a collab with Ocelot. We got a couple things coming up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Busy. It's awesome. So there is opportunity for people to try you.
Yeah.
Around.
Yeah.
And a lot of really cool stuff at the anniversary party. So I'm sure those tickets are going to go pretty quick. It's pretty awesome. So I think if they want more info, they can read the IPA article.
Yeah.
And what else? Did I miss anything here? I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. I think we said it all. You know what? I just got an email about this. Let me see if they had a question. Do you mind?
Someone's actually watching this?
Yeah, let's see.
Awesome.
Is it your mom?
Well, my mom, yes. Any details about the collaboration with The Answer or the Box Elder event?
That was quick. Don't know about what's going on with The Answer, because honestly, that literally happened like 2 days ago or today. Today
it was like
we kind of finalized that they were coming up and when they're coming up, and so we haven't really gotten into specifics on what we're brewing with them, but
the Box Elder event. I know we're doing an event with them. They're good friends of ours. A lot of the craft beer bars we like to build good relations with, and make sure and service the accounts properly. But they're great guys down there at Boxcar, the Kush down in Linwood
I'm trying to
area.
read. Oh, so we've got.
Didn't they want to do like?
Yeah,
3
we've
to
got
5
fresh
years?
blondes, juice, emerald showers, and I think Prince Gary loves the cocoa going there. So, and
Cool.
that should be the first or second week of October.
There couldn't be better people than Adam and Nicole. They are awesome.
They're awesome. They are so awesome.
Great couple.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, you guys have wives that are going to hate you even more if I keep you, and so do I. So, with that said,
It is real.
Everybody drink civilized. You see that?
That's it right here. There you go. There you go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marco.
Anybody.